All right, we're live. Absurd show episode. I am not sure. How are we feeling today, Sardar?
Good, good. Feeling very, very well. Yeah, I'm in the mountains here. Shows you the background, but beauty of modern technology of being able to record anytime, anywhere, almost. I mean, had a little bit of connection issues, but hopefully we'll get through it. So get started.
Yeah, I like that. You just teleported into your room, into your office. That's
I
what it
know,
looked like to me.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right, I'm
the
gonna
legacy
share
office.
screen. We don't got our normal slideshow prepared, so we're gonna try something a little bit different today. And we're gonna
Okay.
start off with something we talked about just here yesterday. So this is a tweet from one of Shopify's founders, the CEO, Toby. He said, "I really like the term context engineering
Mm-hmm.
instead of prompt engineering. It describes the core skill better, the art of
Mm.
providing all the context for the task to be plausibly solvable by the LLM." What are your thoughts here, Sador?
Yeah, we briefly talked about it yesterday, right? So I love that, first of all, how this guy thinks overall. I didn't know too much about Toby, but looks like he's a real visionary. I was listening to his President Harvey's episode on MFM the other day, and honestly, just really admire this guy. And I think, yeah, proper terminology when it comes to new concept is so right because there's a lot of terms that have been coined like kind of in a wrong way. They're kind of misleading, right, by the name. So like when you say prompt engineering, people think like it's all about just prompts. While this is actually, yeah, he's right. It's more about giving context to the LLM, right? Because like right now it's prompts, tomorrow it's going to be something else. Like, to provide context, you're not going to just prompt an AI. You're going to be able to uploading things. You're going to be able to connecting things, right? All of this is to provide context. He's right. So prompting is just one part of context engineering, right? So I love that he's expanding on this term. I think generally there should be some kind of a committee in the world, I think, that looks into like terms that have been coined and like corrects them like this. So I love that he's doing this. I hope this will become the term, this will become the norm, and moving forward. That's my take.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. The immediate comparison that comes to mind, you know me, I love comparisons, is like
Yeah.
calling light electrical engineering light engineering, right? Light is what's there. What's there is a prompt, right? You're making a prompt,
Yeah.
but the actual electrical engineering of kind of managing that current, how it flows through it, that's more the proper term on that front. So with context engineering, this one really hits home because I always say to people, it's all about the context. When I'm training some of our team on using AI, for their specific prompts. It's all about bringing in the right context and then also giving that context. So I say that, when I go to copy and paste something to GPT, I say, here is the tweet I'm talking about, or here is the section of the PDF I'm talking about, nice semicolon, and then add in that context. So it's also giving that context, and multiple layers of that, as he says here, to plausibly solve the problem, the AI being able to do that. So love this, hits home. I'm gonna start using it often.
Totally. Same here. No, no more prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering is dead. That's a nice hook. I can see that being in a tweet.
Yeah. That's how he should have started if he wanted like double the amount of views.
And speaking of electricians, let's hop over to this tweet here. I think this is a fun one from the fat electrician. He said, "We all owe Ford a huge thank you. Back in 2023, they got a patent for playing ads on car infotainment systems, those screens in your car. But instead of using it, Ford claims they filed the patent to prevent anyone else from doing it. And, several years later, it looks
Oh
like
wow.
they were correct. Yeah, because nobody wants to live in a world where you're watching an ad or pay for premium just to start your car. So, shout out to Ford for that one. And I think this is a cool kind of piece of history.
Wow, this is news to me. This is like, why would Ford do this? Like, if not for publicity, you'd think.
So, with that, yeah, here's what we got from Ford. They filed a patent to protect us. No one wants ads on their car entertainment system. Yeah. Are you able to give
Gosh.
a little bit of a take on this patent.
Oh yeah, I'm actually very surprised. It makes me think like, why would Ford do this if not for publicity, right? Of like saying, hey, this is what we did for the industry. This is how we, this is what we gifted to the industry, right? It's like Elon is also known for like having patents for EVs and like he gave away, I think, to everybody so that EVs are kind of like developed more or something, right? So I see kind of the same action here from Ford. Like it's always hard to believe that corporations would do something just for the pure reason of like doing it for the better and for the humanity, so to say. So this makes me think that this is a publicity thing, although they didn't really make this a big deal, right? Other than this tweet. I don't know if that was like also planted and planned ahead of time, but it's actually surprising. But we got to say thank you to them for sure. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna continue on solo, and I'm gonna give my thoughts, and then Sardor is gonna react when he gets some good Wi-Fi on his end. So we're gonna roll on from the Ford one to let's go over to startups. First time founder, perfect product, zero customers. Second time founder, okay product, daily sales calls, always marketing, growing revenue. This is from Micro Acquires or acquire.com's Andrew Gazecki. Love this. It is something I see often. Founders haven't started a product before, try to perfect it down to a T. And after you've gone through this and tried to perfect something too much and you end up with zero customers because you're waiting for that perfect moment or that last feature to be ready, the second time around, you definitely know and realize that well done is better than perfect. Having an okay product is sufficient, and you need to work on the other assets of the business, sales, marketing, you name it. I think this is something every first time founder should take a hard look at. And I think it will be one of those things that sets you apart if you keep this concept in mind your first time around and don't try to go for that specific perfection. All right, let's jump over to some AI, AGI, actually. So, Google's DeepMind, Logan Kilpatrick, huge fan of following this guy on Twitter. I think he's one of the driving forces in Google's, so to say, turnaround or catch up on the AI front. After the last few years, they've been catching a lot of flack, so to say. Logan Kilpatrick is one you should be following and learn from some of the things that he puts out there. But he says AGI will be a product experience, not a model. So everybody keeps talking about these new models coming out, new model, when AGI, when AGI. But it's going to be the experience of the products. So his bet is whoever nails memory plus context with a semi-decent model at a product level wins. Users will suddenly feel like they're talking to AGI. This is not going to happen from capability breakthrough, but experience breakthrough. At some point, the AGI race, and I think everybody will realize this, it's actually a UX problem, that user experience. So, love this. I think it's super important if you're an AI founder or building any AI product to focus more on that user experience than how great the brain is on the back end of it. At the end of the day, what's going to grow your business and your app? Users. What's the most important for that? Yes, great technology on the back end, but most important is that user experience. Love this. Check out Logan Kilpatrick and what he's doing with Google and their AI. And let's move over to something that happened this past weekend. Super exciting. There was an AI showdown hosted by Lovable. This tweet here is from Lovable's co-founder, one of their founders. And during this AI showdown, 250,000 of apps were built in 48 hours. It's more than the first 5 years of the internet combined, he says. We're rebuilding the internet. If that doesn't give you chills, it should. What this showdown was all about is Lovable's introducing a new capability to where as you're prompting and building out your app, you can switch between models. GPT 4.0, Claude 3.7, you name it. Google's Gemini as well. So they hosted a weekend of completely free credits. Level was free all weekend, and they wanted to see what people spent their time using more of these models available, these specific models in the back end doing the coding. If you think Gemini is better at UI UX, you could use that during those prompts. If you think ChatGPT is better at backend and Supabase architecture, use it on those prompts. I think we're really starting to see the different spider webs and branches that are going to come off of these vibe coding tools, which felt so kind of rigid and siloed, like you have guardrails on early on, to now expanding to a lot of different capabilities. I did see Builder.io launched Fusion AI here recently, which claims to be able to take any code base, any model, any context, and you can vibe code off of that versus kind of the rigid architecture that comes out of these original tools. And don't take my word for it, check it out. That's my general understanding of it. Now, this kind of piggybacks off of that, the last topic here, which is also a crazy, crazy stat and chart we're looking at here. Supabase had more signups last quarter than the first 4 years of its existence. For those of you that might not know Supabase, it is a very MVP startup, solo entrepreneur friendly database solution for connecting to the back of any app, whether it's a V0 app, whether it's a Lovable app. Supabase is the go-to database right now. Glad to see them winning. I've used their product before. It's a breeze setting up with Lovable and setting up those serverless edge functions for the AI. I just got to give kudos to the Supabase team, and look at that. Look at that chart. But I would say it also goes to one other theme, is when you're building a business and thinking about your user base and target demographic or market size as well. Supabase is something that's used by everybody building apps, right? It's a layer back from the front end of the consumer, but it is coming a little bit upstream with general consumers being able to use Lovable and other products. So I think they are positioned very well to grow into a pretty large company. And that is all 6 topics we had prepared for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a great weekend. And